G'day folks. Well, I've got all the water injection or methanol injection set up, hooked up, and I've been fiddling around with it, and yeah, I've actually given it a bit of a test on the two-step. I don't know why I bought that two-step, you know. I think it was me drag racing bloody thing coming out in me, but I never use it. But in this instance, it's handy. I can build a pound or two and trigger the unit, because I've got it set at the lowest setting, and yeah, just to make sure the light's coming on and the pump's activated. So yeah, it's all systems good at the minute, so yeah, pretty excited about it. Took a bit of work to do. It took a lot of nutting out to the wiring side of it. Even though it's not that hard to wire in, there's not too many wires, but the way they had it all sort of worked out was a bit confusing. But I got there in the finish, and I was sort of looking at it at the wrong angle. And yeah, it's probably quite easy to everyone else, you know, to sort of look at it, but I just sort of struggled with it. But I got my head around it after a few little attempts, and yeah, it's not that hard. So I think the diagram would have been a better option. They didn't really give me a decent diagram, so that's the only little quibble about I've got with that kit. But you know, it's all good quality, the rest of it. So yeah, all right. I'll show you where I've. Hang on. What have I done with my phone? What I'll do, I'll show you first what I've gone and done with my air bleeds. Now, this is not a permanent solution, guys, so don't shoot me down. It's only temporary. This is sort of the idea. This is looking in the hat into the carby. And I had to get the vent pipes away from where I'm injecting the water meth, because I just don't want issues. But this is only a temporary sort of little setup, guys. I'm going to put, and I can't get hold of any at the minute, but when I run into town, which is about half-hour drive, there's a good chance I can get a little bit. But this is just, like I said, a temporary setup just to get me tested and see how we go with it, see how it fares up. But you get the gist of it there. If the look of a zippy tie comes off, it won't hurt the hinge. Yeah, anyway, it's a bit of rough stuff, that, but I think the principle there will work, but it's not a long-term solution. But I want to sort of put aluminium up there, then pipes, and weld them together. I actually saw another guy do it, and I thought it was quite clever. So I'm going to pinch his little idea. Alright, well, I've mounted it. I've put the nozzle there, so it's all sort of plumbed in. When I sort of done it, and I thought, oh, it's sticking up there. Well, it actually sticks up out of the bonnet, but that's okay. I can live with it. I didn't really want to inject it sort of anywhere else. I sort of thought, because you know, you get the air rushing through there, and I thought that's a good placement there for it. So what's done is done now, so that's where it's going to live. I've put the controller box on the fender well there. Seems to be the most easiest spot to read and tune and fiddle around with. So you've got the two-stage there. Start progressive stage, so I might set that up at about 5 pound, and then because I'm only running 7 pound, I'll have the full coming in at 7. But that's trial and error. I'll dial that in and fiddle around with it. I've put the smallest nozzle in for now, because at the moment I'm not reliant on it. I just want to test it and just get familiar with it, and just slowly creep up on it over time and get a feel for it and see how everything's, how she likes it, and maybe go up a degree or two and timing, and just learn as I go. That's what it's all about. I've got the relay hooked in, wide in there, nice, and I've got it sort of fused off. I piggybacked off the trigger point off one of the other trigger points, so it's running through a fuse as well. It's not a big draw, The pump's only 11 amps. You can actually wire it in without a relay if you've got a decent fuse inside your cab. You can just key on and run it into this box and do away with the relay. I don't know why maybe they just give you options with the relay. That's where it sort of got a bit confusing. They don't sort of say much about it, but you end up getting a relay. So anyway, I've worked him all out. I've got him all sorted. And I've mounted the pump in the tank. Look, I've gone back into the cabin. I was going to put it in the boot, but I've changed my mind and I've mounted it there. It's not a fire risk. The fluid, it's only 50-50 mix, so it won't ignite. But if they get funny, then cams, crowds, you know, and sort of want it in the boot, I haven't cut the hose down or the line down, so I can run it in there and just extend the wires. And so yeah, I didn't sort of commit to it fully. I've just got it all sort of rigged there and bolted in, and yeah, I can soon move it if they're not happy with it. And I've got a nice little telltale light too, guys. You can see it there. There it is. It's a little LED. Yeah, it's nice and bright when it comes on. Yeah, so I might start him up and I'll get it on the two-step. I've got a little two-step there I bought years ago when I first sort of put the turbo on it, and never use it. But I'll see if I can get a pound or two. The turbo's pretty cold. I can build 4 pound at about 3,000 revs, but I can't sort of build much now. Like I said, the turbo's too cold, and I've only had the car running sort of 20 minutes. But I can get enough, even if I step off the throttle, you get that back pressure come through because you snap the butterfly shut and you'll build a little bit of boost and you'll just trigger the light. But as long as I see the little light come on, you know it's working. And I'll show you that, guys. Oh, God, it's hard now with that bloody cage in. Oh, oh dear, oh dear. Alright, we'll fire him up. As you can see, I've had it running. Now I've got it set at 3,000 revs and it's actually on the brake. So build a little bit of, I might even get a pound or so. It seems to be, it wants about 2 pound to trigger it. I'm actually about a pound. See if you can see that. We've got the gauge there, the boost gauge at the right there, and we've got the light up there, so just keep an eye on it. Turbo's too cold. I'm wanting to build it, but you just can't quite trigger the... I'll give it one more go. I'm a bit nervous now putting this two-step on because one other guy popped an engine doing it on a rear mount. Yeah, some funny things happen when you with a rear mount. Anyway, I'll try one more time, try and get the light working. There you go. I got a pound out of it. Only when I sort of backed off a bit, shot up to about 2. Yeah, turbo's too cold. But I can build about 4 pound when it's at about 3,000 comfortably. I'm going to pull it out, that bloody thing, anyway, so... But anyway, we've got it working. That's the main thing, guys. So I'm pretty keen to get it out, hopefully. Oh, she's a ruckus. Hopefully in the next week or two, I can get down there and we'll get some footage, and yeah, I'm really keen to test it. Really keen to test it. Alright, before I go guys, just hang on a sec, bear with me. I'll try and get out of this thing. Oh, God. Oh, gee. Oh, that's a challenge. Look at that, there's not much room there guys. What I'm going to do guys, I'm going to run, I've done a bit of research and I'm actually going to run methylated spirits and a 50-50 mix of that. So yes, I've done some research on it. That's a plant-based, well it's plant-based ethanol, and methanol is a wood base. They do say that methanol is slightly better, but this is all I can get hold of at the minute. I'm quite happy to use it, and there are a lot of guys, I've been on forums and I've done a lot of research, and a lot of guys run the metho and are very happy with it and have great success with it. So I think I might stick to that formula and yeah, and run with that. Alright folks, well, exciting times ahead. She's all starting to come together now. All this hard work starting to pay off. And yeah, very keen to test it. Get some water, methanol running through it, and we'll go from there. And as soon as I've sort of tested it and got sort of some feedback from it and just see how it likes it, and maybe go up a degree or two in timing, I'm going to tackle them back arms. I'm starting to get pumped again, so yes, all exciting stuff. Alright folks, well it's just an update for now. The next vid, if I get a chance, I'm going to drop it back on the ground. I've got a little oil leak under my scavenge pump there I've got to address. But once I sort of get it back on the ground, I'll do another vid and show you with the cage in it, and yeah, we'll have a bit of a, do a little walk around, and you'll see that bit of caster too on the, or the negative camber on the front, because it looks quite nice now with the front, and we'll do a little walk around, and yeah, we'll see how she looks with that cage in her on the ground. Alright folks, well, I'll catch you later.